Welcome to my diary. I'm Tatami. Here we talk about whatever I want to, and today I wanted to make my last, I believe, video on the Micah Stouffer Huxley transracial disabled adoptee rehoming situation. Now, it was really exciting for me to see a lot of people suddenly take a lot of interest in this situation, a transracial adoptee situation, a disabled adoptee situation. Sadly, I noticed a lot of people blame it on mommy vlogging. They don't understand that the same type of person who will transracially adopt for clout in their neighborhood is the same type of person who will blast everything as a mommy vlog. They're the same type of personality, but there's a real deeper issue that goes so far beyond anybody who has the capabilities, the means, the time to mommy vlog. It's a really much bigger issue. And so because it's like this thing that people have kind of they in their minds to make it not seem like that big or bad of a situation, they devolved it down into it's just like a mommy vlog problem. We need to figure out what's wrong with all these mommy vloggers. And it got to the point where one of them, who I had thought was doing a decently good job prior, he has like cat ears. That's what I know. That's all I know of him. I don't know him from anything else other than seeing a few of his opinions. Y'all, he tried to shame people and be like, y'all are doing too much, blah, blah, blah. And I have two words for him, okay, with his ideas that we were doing too much, thinking Huxley might have been dead. Honey, Hart family. We've seen this before. There's a reason why people were worried that he might be dead. Because transracial and sometimes even disabled, even if it's just one kid, even if they haven't been collecting them, they have 4+ kids, they haven't had a collection of them, sometimes they'll do it with just one. But people will absolutely go find a child of color or a disabled child or a child of some kind of minority disability that they can find to add spice to their lives and use and burden the child with this expectation that they add this spice. If you do not add this spice, you're in trouble. If you add too much spice, you're in trouble. You're a liability. You're doing too much. You might need to get sent away or not even be a part of the family anymore. So it's a really real thing for children to be used and abused emotionally, physically, mentally, however you want to describe these different forms of abuses, which vary among the children, right? A lot of people pride themselves in never touching a child, but they've said more than enough, right, to make a child think a certain way, feel a certain way. A child can sense your resentment, your anger, your distaste for them. That's one of the things that I remember so clearly, sadly, about my adoptive mom is that she didn't like me. She loved me. She wanted everybody outside to know, no, I take this girl shopping. There were a few things we could connect on, but y'all, my personality, who I am as a person, she just did not like me. And I tried until I was like 14, and then I started to get the hint. I started, you start to be like, oh, she's not calling me Youre because it's like funny that she thinks that I'm kind of a moody kid. Remember, I was being sexually abused by her husband. She was calling me Youre because she genuinely thinks that I'm like a downer of a person who brings downerness to her life. That's genuinely what she thinks. She thinks I'm like this depressing person. And so it came to this point where I just had to realize that this person didn't really like me. She didn't want to hear any of my opinions on anything. She didn't want to hear what my favorite things were. Because she didn't know what my favorite things were, she often thought I was lying. When I said I was doing or being places, I wasn't lying. She just, in her heart of hearts, she just felt like I was like a liability who was going to go off there. If I had $2 to my name, I was going to go out there and do something psycho with that $2. I was going to go get some heroin. I was going to go become a prostitute. I'm not sure exactly what things she had filled in her head. I think some of it came from her knowledge of my birth mother, which is a whole nother story. But my whole point is that you come to a point where you realize that you're not loved in your family. And that's something that a lot of adoptees and transracial adoptees especially have to come to grips with, is that like they just don't connect with this. Even if the person really likes them, they just don't connect with this world. So I do think that they honestly made Huxley feel the resentment that they were pushing on to him. I do honestly believe that, they gave it away a few times, especially when they were saying stuff like, he 100% wanted this. I'm like, as an adoptee who kind of wanted out at a few points, you don't get to that point unless you think you might die. These people might hurt you. These people don't like you at all. They are willing to sacrifice you for other kids in the house. That's when you start to get to that point. So that information knowing all of her lies, y'all, she lied like a shit ton of time. Why would we be like bad people for thinking for even a few days that we needed to follow through with this and check and make sure Huxley was still alive? I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree that we were doing too much, that we were perhaps slandering a name. No, she slandered herself by putting herself out there and then lying on camera in all white clothing with her like blonde hair out and her husband rubbing her back. Like, she slandered herself, because the second we looked into it and saw he was not with a forever home, he was not with a forever mommy, he was not with all these things that she said he was with, at that point we have more than enough red flags that hit a lot of the different marks to firmly believe that this child could be in complete danger. She could have sold him. She could have buried him in the backyard after getting too mad at him one time. A lot of things could have honestly happened. So it makes me sad that a lot of people were seeing that there were a lot of red flags to do with this, but instead of connecting it to transracial adoption, transabled adoption, is that even a thing? Able-bodied people adopting disabled people that with disabilities they have no idea about, really, personally. People collecting adoptees, even if they're all of the same race, there's a lot of red flags there, but instead it all kind of got put onto mommy vloggers, which I understand is a huge issue that a lot of people are concerned about. I'm concerned about child labor too. I'm concerned with people putting their kids to shuck and jive in front of the camera, especially transracial or other adoptees, to be told they need to shuck and jive in front of the camera. Because the thing of the matter is that, yeah, while adoptees have a lot of issues that we statistically come with, honey, a lot of these adoptive parents, a lot of these white adoptive parents come with a shit ton of issues that also impact the adoption, also impact the adoptee, but they're never really looked at like that. It's kind of, and if they are, it's like she's just like a psycho mommy vlogger who wants to be famous. But y'all, there's someone in your town right now, someone who goes to your church, somebody who lives on your block, who has a little gaggle of collected adoptees, who is doing the same thing, who is going on family walks just to have strangers wave them down, who's taking their kids to the stores just so they can maybe have a confrontation with a stranger about it, who's going to, church just so they can get shaken hands with, taking their kids to their work so that people will be like, how do you do it? And it weighs on all the adoptees. It's not just the ones who are in front of the camera, because a lot of these kids don't even realize they're in front of the camera, and they won't for another 5, 10, 15 years. You know what I'm saying? But right in this moment, they're being used for different forms of clout, different forms of, oh, my God thinks I'm better now because I have adopted these kids. I've paid back some bullshit I've done in my past. So there's a huge issue. And I just want to say, don't let anyone gaslight you, make you believe that you are some kind of bitch, some kind of over-the-top asshole, psycho, trying to pin shit on people, accuse people of shit that didn't happen. Y'all, I'm just like waving the shit out of myself. It's hot as hell, okay? It's hot as hell where I'm living here in California, okay? It's a lot. So anyways, don't let them gaslight you, because you were on the right path. And if that child had ended up dead, a lot of people would have been like, oops, oops. So it's good that you take that time, because that's all anybody said about the Hart family children. Oops, my bad. There was nothing else to say, because they were dead, and you couldn't find their bodies, and it was gone, and people had ignored all of the like warning signs, all of the red flags. So this time we tried not to ignore the red flags, and thankfully he was in the system. But honey, don't let it make you less vigilant next time, because transracial adoptees in general need you. People are using us, using other people's children because we have nothing. They are using us for their personal gain. And it's not okay to just be like, well, kids need to be adopted. Yeah, kids need to be adopted, but not by psychos. And we need to stop encouraging it just on the off chance that we're going to end up with someone nice. It's just not okay. There needs to be reform within how our society views adoption, especially transracial, especially transabled. Making that up, and I'm sticking with it. All right. Thank you so much for watching. May your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads, and I will see you next time.